He was talking about Clarence. And, well, I'm just telling you the truth. You know, I don't make the news. I just support it. And he called and he says that we want Clarence. We really do. We want Clarence to be the spearhead of a magnificent new campaign that we're planning for next spring. And I said, Clarence spearheading a major campaign? What's the product? He says, well, I'm not yet at liberty to divulge what the product is until I talk to Clarence himself. And I said, well, Clarence is, see, he didn't know Clarence, I said, well, Clarence is indisposed right now. And he says, what do you mean Clarence is indisposed? I said, well, Clarence didn't turn out to be a rooster. And Clarence is now sitting on a bunch of sticks in the corner over there. And, Clarence is kind of that way. And he says, what? You mean Clarence is pregnant? Well, chickens don't actually get pregnant. I suppose you could say they do, but, well, let's put it this way. Clarence laid a mess of eggs. I don't know whether that's pregnant or not. He says, well, how long is it going to take? I said, well, the usual time is maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Clarence is sitting over there in the corner now. And as soon as Clarence is ready to walk around and talk to you, well, I'll send him over to the agency. Where are you guys? What, 47th and Madison? I said, I'll send Clarence down at that time. Well, now, of course, now I'm faced with a terrible decision. Am I going to have to go down to the Brooks Costume Company and rent a chicken suit? Because they're going to accept me. I mean, I don't look much like a chicken. I mean, a little bit, but not much, honestly. Do you agree, Joe? So I may have to go down and get one of those big green chicken suits they rent down there, see? With the big yellow feet. I'm pretty good at it, you gotta admit. Well, now, you see, this is an object lesson for you kids out there. I mean, it's you have to be kids out there. I'd like to point out that there's many things that you do that you fuck the hell out of the people around you, right? Like, for example, you play The Stars and Stripes Forever with a number 2 typographical pencil laid across your top teeth, right? The things you keep doing. Or you have one kid I met, for example, at up in Rochester, RPI, Rochester Polytechnic Institute. Now, what did he do? His entire life was based around the fact that he had developed a technique with his mouth that exactly recreated the sound of a drop of water dropping out of a leaky faucet. He could really do it. It was eerie. Well, I've taken 10 years to work on this ever since he was 5. And now he was the best water drop man in the business. You don't stop it, I'm going out of my mind. He'd go with the water. Sounds pretty good, but you should have heard this guy. Well, now, see, I encouraged him. I said, you're liable to become a tycoon, a billionaire. Nobody knows the day when you might be the only guy in the entire United States that could imitate a drop of water. And that day they're going to all be sorry for what they said about you, and they're all going to go around pretending they encouraged you. Let me tell you something. If my mother heard this show tonight, she'd be out of her mind. She'd be climbing her bird. She'd be flipping out of the tree. You know why? From the time I was 5, I used to sit in the kitchen and go, somehow I love to imitate chicken. Why do I get satisfaction from this? Does President Nixon sit around and imitate chicken? No. Does Johnny Carson sit around and imitate chicken? No. The shepherd sit in his office and go, bah, 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 bah. Yes. That is what caused the entire sales department to have a total lack of respect and faith in shepherds. By the way, this is very handy. I will never forget the fantastic moment when I was in this platoon of guys with 25 of us. That's about a platoon, 25, 28, roughly, you know. Sweating. Yeah, we had 3 squads, 8 guys to a squad. And we were out on a 20-mile march. We had this first lieutenant who was an exec. He was not the CO. He was the exec. And he was the first lieutenant with the silver bars. And it was raining. It was raining from the time we left camp, and now it's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and we left camp. It's the day before dawn even was considering cracking. I mean, that's the way the Army does things, you know. I don't know what the hell it is with the Army, but they just got this thing that daylight hours, you know, time means nothing to them, you see. Nothing. So at 3:30 in the morning, you're blowing whistles, and well, you know, we were in these tents. I remember, you know, the whistle went off one morning and got me. I was so asleep. I was asleep so hard. Have you ever been asleep, you know, it's like you've been shot, you know? And I was asleep so hard that when the whistle went off, the guy blew it off right in front of my tent. You know, there was about 50 little tents, you know, puffed in. He blew it in front of my tent. And went, ah! You know, the whistle went off, and I jumped up and stood up. Well, I was in a 3.5-foot high pup tent. And I mean, the poles are flying. Goldberg is under the rest of the tent. You know, the 2 guys with tents, they had Goldberg. What the hell are you doing? What are you? And the tent fell in on him. And there I am standing there with a tent hanging off my head. Well, you know, you can push it too hard, but on this particular occasion, it was just a little much. That after 4.5 billion miles out into the woods, and it was raining and raining, and by the way, it was also hot. It was hot and raining, and dusty. And, you know, it can be raining and dusty at the same time it was doing it. Well, we're about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We've been on the road now since about maybe 4 o'clock that morning. And all we had to eat was 1K ration, and I could feel myself actually getting skinnier and skinnier and sweating into my shoes on this long forced march. When all of a sudden this first lieutenant turns around at all of us, and he hollers, "Gas! Gas!" Well, now that's the thing they do in the Army. Have you ever heard of that? Gas! That means you put your gas mask on. You have that gun in 8 seconds flat. So, up goes gas mask, close it on. Well, at that point, a gas mask, have you ever had a gas mask on? Well, they ain't easy to breathe through, and they're hot. That's the thing that gets you about them. They're hot. And what's worse is that almost all of us that morning had shaved with cold water. Because there was no hot water at 3:30 in the morning. Yes, I know, Jay. We all of us shaved that morning with cold water. And now, this is a thing, a little subtle thing that may not have occurred to you. When you shave with cold water, if you're a man, you know what the story is. You shave with cold water, especially with a blade. We've been out in the field now for about 8 weeks. No PS. And I was shaving with a razor.